everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this series in the postgraduate work permit application process. And if you've not watched the part 1, I'm going to leave an iCard up here where you can also access it. I recommend you watch it so you can follow along. So in today's series, we're going to be talking about who can apply and how to apply. So this is really important. And when I say who can apply, I'm just referring to like eligibility criteria. So what do you have to meet? What requirements do you have to meet based on what the immigration has provided in order to be eligible or to be considered for a postgraduate work permit? So without further ado, let's get right into this video. All the links to this information will be in the description box for your own reference and for your own information. So don't worry about it, you can always refer to it as well. And if you have questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section of this video. So I'm going to be reading the eligibility criteria straight from the immigration's website. You have 180 days after you get your final marks to apply for a postgraduate work permit. Don't be deceived by the amount of time. That time frame will go really fast. You think you have a lot of time and you don't want to be in that situation. Trust me, it's going to get frustrating, especially with COVID. You want to make sure you have all your documents ready even before the 6 months if possible. It also says to be eligible, your study permit must have been valid at some point during these 180 days. So if I'm going to school as an international student now and I'm applying for a postgraduate work permit, my study permit needs to be valid. It says here, don't let your status expire while you wait for your marks. So for example, let's say your study permit is set to expire in May of 2021. There's 2 options the immigration has stipulated that a person can go through to have a valid status in Canada. So what it says, you can apply for a visitor record to stay longer in Canada, or you can leave Canada and apply for your postgraduate work permit. But why? Why should you leave Canada to apply for a postgraduate work permit? But there's a second option anyways. If you stay in Canada and let your permit expire, you must apply to restore your status as a student to apply for your postgraduate work permit. So basically, if you're here and your status as a student expires, you need to reapply to restore your status as a student even if you finish school, because you need to have like a valid temporary document to apply for your postgraduate work permit. And to restore your status, you must pay an additional fee. You're going to be paying $605, 605 Canadian dollars to be precise, to restore your status as a student and to get your postgraduate work permit. And other criteria is that you must have completed a study program at a designated learning institution. So a school that's recognized by the immigration. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link in the description box where you can like search for your school if it's a recognized DLI, and that your program was at least 8 months long. And again, the length of your postgraduate work permit is dependent on the length of your study program. And also, the program you completed needs to have led to like a degree or a certificate or a diploma. That's another criteria. And you also need to have maintained full-time status. So you need to have gone to school full-time as a student in Canada during each semester of your study program. But there's an exception. So with COVID, there's an exception to spring, summer and winter of 2020. And there's also an exception like if you're in your last semester and you had to do school part-time, because let's say sometimes in your last semester your workload might be less, like your credit cost load might be less than your previous semesters, if that makes sense. Or if you took an approved leave from your studies, you can still apply for your postgraduate work permit. So when they say took an approved leave, so you didn't just stop going to school. Let's say you were having like some financial difficulty and you probably didn't go to school for a whole semester, you didn't go to school for a whole year. That doesn't stop you from applying for a postgraduate work permit so far that your faculty was aware and they approved your leave for that whole period where you were not in school or where you couldn't attend classes. You're still eligible to apply. So now we're going to talk about how to apply. So application again is online. There's paper application, but I just think that online application is better, it's faster, it's cheaper. You're always communicating through your email, you're getting like notifications early, like it's way easier than going back and forth the mailbox or the mail system or the delivery. So you can apply for a postgraduate work permit inside Canada or outside Canada, whichever works for you. And you have 180 days, and that's 6 months. I said something about paying $605 to restore your status as a student if you apply for a postgraduate work permit due to your study permit being expired. So here the immigration says $350 is to restore your status as a student and $255 is to apply online for your postgraduate work permit. So they all amount to the 605 Canadian dollars I talked about. So if you fall under the category of people who whose study permit expired before applying for a postgraduate work permit, you can't work. You cannot, just because it's expired. So let's talk about the documents a person will need for their application process. So you need an official letter from your school that confirms that you finished your program and you're good to go. So your official transcript will be needed, or if you can get your transcript from your school account or school website, that's still acceptable by the immigration officers. You need to be intentional about your application process. Like, get all your documents ready, make sure they're accurate, get someone to go over your documents. The immigration, they're the ones who make the decision on whether they're going to approve your postgraduate work permit or not. So make sure you apply early, because they can ask you for more documents, which asking for more documents will also affect the length of time to get approved for your postgraduate work permit. If you're applying online, you need to make sure you have a phone, a camera phone, or a scanner, because that's how you submit your documents, your official transcripts, letter from your university, your passport details and whatnot, your study permit. That's how you submit all of those documents to the immigration. So have a camera to take pictures, or a scanner, depending. You can even get a scanner on your phone. You just download a scanner from App Store or Play Store. You can download that on your phone and use it to convert your documents to PDF if needed to submit to the immigration. And you also need a valid credit or debit card, because you need to pay the fees online. So if you're applying for a PGWP, you need to pay 255 Canadian dollars online. Or if you're applying to restore your status as a student and for a postgraduate work permit, you need to pay $605. You also need to make sure that you have an account with immigration. So this is something you should have. If you don't have an account, that's not even a big deal. You can just go to Canada's immigration website and create an account and start your application for a postgraduate work permit. So that brings me to the end of today's video. If you have any questions, leave your questions in the comment section, and I'm going to go to a part 3, which will be the last part of this series, where we will talk about what you can do or what you should be doing during the time of you submitting your application and waiting for a decision up until approval. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in part 3. Bye now.